Aloha mai kākou. I'm here today in our Māla and I'm actually sitting in our tools and storage area right now, but I just wanted to bring you along on the process for picking out all of those things that we're going to be planting to fill up our empty planter beds. So for all you second graders out there, I have been reviewing all of your submissions on Seesaw and making a list of all of the different garden crops that you suggested for us to plant. We got so many good ideas from all of you. Things like kalo, tomatoes, eggplants, and lots of fruits like watermelon, blueberries, strawberries, lilikoi. So many good ideas. A lot of these are definitely things that we could plant, and some of them are things that might take a little bit more planning that I would love for us to plant in the future, like bananas or oranges. Since these things grow as trees, we'll have to find another place outside of a planter bed to plant those things. But most of these other ones, they grow small enough to fit into our wooden planter beds, and they would be perfect. So I went through and I did a little bit of research. I looked up how long a lot of these crops actually take before they start to produce fruits, and I wanted to make sure that we time it correctly so that when we come back from our winter break for the holidays, then our plants should be ready and start making their fruit for the edible part. So I'll take that into consideration as well. And then another thing to consider is what seeds I already have on hand. So this is my seed box that I keep here in the Māla. It has everything that we need for planting, and I have all kinds of things in here. So right now, I'm going to go through and see if I actually already have anything available from the list that I could just be able to plant the seeds right here. Some of those other ones, maybe I don't have the seeds ready and available, so I would have to actually buy them or order them, and it may take a little bit longer. So that's something else that I'll take into consideration. So let's get to work and see how it goes. So we have all of the seeds that we're gonna plant in this flat picked out, and I already made labels, and I'll just plant a row of all the same seeds, and just each row will continue on. But for this last row down here, I'm actually going to be using some seeds that sprouted in our compost in a jar experiment. So you might remember when we started this compost in a jar, in the video lesson, I put all kinds of things in here, including a whole cherry tomato. That tomato, I think it maybe got pecked by a bird or something. It wasn't good for eating, and so I just put it in the jar, and you can actually kind of see in there the seeds that were inside of that tomato sprouted. And so I'm going to very, very carefully take these sprouts out of here and transplant them into these pots, let them get established in here, and hopefully they'll grow a little bit larger so that we can transplant them again into the ground in the garden. So I went through and I was able to transplant 3 or 4 of these little tomato seedlings into each pot, and if they all take off and start growing, we can thin them out later. But if some of them don't make it, then hopefully at least one will survive and get really well established in the pot for us to be able to transplant later. I'm gonna put my label right at the top. And now it's time to plant all the rest of these. Alrighty, here is our flat of seeds all planted, and they're up here on the nursery table. They are getting watered by our little sprinkler system that we have set up. And we also have a couple other trays and pots that are being planted with seeds by the kindergartners and some of the other haumana who come and visit the Māla in person. And so for all of those seeds that I didn't get to plant today, since I only planted 5 kinds of fruits and veggies, hopefully we can get the kindergartners and all those other students to help plant them and get them started up here to be able to grow and then transplant out into the rest of the garden. Before we close this video, I just wanted to share one last mana'o with you. One thing that a lot of second graders asked for us to grow in the Māla is strawberries. So back here in this planter bed, we took out all of the flowers that were in here. They were starting to die back, but of course we left our blueberry bushes, and I was thinking that it could be really cool for us to grow strawberries in this planter bed down below the blueberries. Strawberries will grow as a low plant that will just cover the ground, and that could be really cool to have the strawberries down low and the blueberries up high. Let me know what you think of that idea, and fingers crossed that we can get some strawberry plants to be able to transplant into this planter bed soon.